بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم. So, Bismillah. Hope everyone has had sufficient rest and good sleep. Is that a yes? Yes, everyone's fresh now, mashallah. Good. Because now very shortly you will be doing an activity and a review, and that will require a lot of engagement from yourself. It'll be individual review, and other ustads will walk around and help you answer these questions, and you will have the opportunity to review your entire life. And the way the Mashayikh have summarized the life in 6 major aspects will help you to see your whole life in few pages, one booklet, and inshallah. But before that, I wanted to give you this special gift. This isn't from me, this is from the Mashayikh, from Hazrat Saab, and alhamdulillah, you'll be given a physical copy as well. But on the screen, it will appear very shortly, inshallah. Now, why this is a gift? The gifts are not always physical things that you're given. We like them when they are, but alhamdulillah, some things are given in a different way, a different type of gift, a gift of action and a gift of amal. Because what comes with this gift of amal, this gift of action, there's something special that comes with it. If you're told that you can do this, such and such a thing, what is it that the person is giving to you? Can anyone tell me? What are you being given? Excellent, Brother Aziz. MashaAllah, you're being given permission. When you are given permission to do something, that is like the key that opens a door. And the key that opens the door, when you enter the door, the whole world is available to you. But without that key of permission, the whole world is not available to you. You could do the amal as much as you possibly want and can spend 6 hours a day doing it, but the same benefit won't be there if the permission is not there. So the permission, with that comes a special fairs, a special light, a special help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, from the Mashayikh. That's what comes with permission. So inshallah, today you all have this permission to do this, which inshallah, we'll put this on the screen. This gift of 5 amals, the 5 amals that I mentioned here, I will mention these 3 first and then the 2 at the top, inshallah. The first one is sincerity, ikhlas. Now, before, who can remember sincerity? Which precondition level was it in? Was it in the first body stage, mind precondition stage, or the heart precondition? It was a heart-related matter. But yet you're given this on the first day, and the reason for that is without sincerity, without that, a month, 2 months later, the person, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take them away. They won't be here anymore. And the reason that you may not be here, because a person takes the space of someone else who needs to be here, who wants to be here, who is sincere. So the opposite of sincerity is very dangerous. Ostentation, showing off, and doing it for fame and name, those types of things, they're very dangerous, because when a person is not sincere, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can take them away, and then they never have the chance to come back. This retreat becomes like a dream for you, and it's as though you were never here. So this is why sincerity from day one is so important, that you don't become one of those people. 99.9% of the world, what is it for? It's for dunya. The shops are for dunya, supermarkets are, our houses mostly are dunya. Everything outside is for dunya mostly. Just the mosques and the zawiyas, even some mosques these days people do for dunya. They're competing, and it's about committee and it's about position, things like this. So very few places are for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So never come to a place for Allah and come there for dunya. Then you won't find yourself there for long. So the first one is the sincerity sheet. What is that? The level is mentioned on here. I will just read it out to you, and then inshallah I'm going to give you the physical gift, inshallah. So if I zoom in, Brother Ansar, can you zoom in first, please? So the sincerity sheet, the first level is this, that before any good deed or during any good deed, there are three positions of everything. Even a movie has three positions. What are those three positions? Even a movie, a theatre, anything. Everything has three parts, yes. Excellent, exactly. Everything has, thank you, Brother Rafael. Everything has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So in the beginning of every worship, the amal you will do here today, all of them, your 5 daily prayers, your taraweeh, your zikr, everything. The beginning, the middle, and the end, what will you do? You will refresh your intention that, oh Allah, I am doing this for your pleasure, for your sake. I'm doing this for you. And even in this first level, you can say that, oh Allah, I am even doing it for Jannah and for reward and for paradise. A future level, even you won't want paradise because we don't worship Allah for paradise. But just this first level, because people need a motivating factor, you can think I am doing it for paradise as well. So what is it? Beginning, middle, end of every major worship, you will refresh your intention. I am doing this for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and for Jannah and reward. Now let's see who can repeat that. So, who's going to practice it? Can I see hands up? Who's going to practice this starting today? One person, 2 people, 3 people. Can I see more? Who's going to practice it? Okay, mashallah. So, Brother Ibrahim, can you repeat the level for me? Yes. Yep. Okay. Anything else? Go on. Can anyone help? Yes, Brother Usman. Jazakallah. Exactly. So beginning, middle, and end. So it needs to be at the beginning and the middle and in the end. Do you see how important it is for me to ask you the question? If I just tell you, you haven't taken it in. But if I ask you to repeat, then I can see have you understood, have you not. Then otherwise, what will you practice? So what will you practice? Beginning, middle, end. Refresh the intention. I am doing this for Allah's pleasure and for Jannah and reward. And then there's also in there one more thing. Which deeds do you do them in? What did I say? Which good deeds do you do them in? So, Brother, is it Hamza? Can I see your card? It's Hamza. Hamza, which deeds do we do these in? Yeah, so the salah and anything else? The 5 prayers? Yeah, so and any major deeds, any major good deeds. So which is the major good deed that we'll generally have? Yes, brother. So sincere towards people, mashallah, that's a one-off thing. You know, it depends because sincere towards people can mean many different things, but that's still good. The more you do the act in, this intention in, the better. But other than the 5 daily prayers, we all have something we do every day. Yes? I'll give you a clue. It's up here. I've not gone through it yet, but I will go through it shortly. Something that you might do every day. Yes, Brother Ibrahim. Your daily amals. So that daily amal section will be explained in a short while. But those 3 things. So now I'm going to repeat it again. That beginning, middle, end. That's the first thing. Number 2, for the pleasure of Allah and for Jannah and reward. That's what the intention is. And the third thing is, when do you do it? The 5 daily prayers and your personal amal. Now, who can repeat that to me? Brother Mujtaba. Perfect, mashallah, excellent. So if anyone needs to ask clarification, you can ask Brother Mujtaba, inshallah. So Jazakallah, that's correct. So now I know Brother Mujtaba will be doing this correctly because he's repeated it correctly. But the same way, there's 100 people here. I can't ask everybody. So I will, because it's amal-wise, what you actually do is so important. To make sure that you've got that correct is very, very important. So one more person to mention, somebody from international maybe or from far that's come today. How about, who else said that they're going to do this today? Anyone? Can I see hands? Who's doing this today? Uncle, can you repeat, tell us please? Yeah, daily amal. Excellent, mashallah. So the only thing was probably missed there was that you mentioned the pleasure of Allah, which is great. But at the beginning stages, you can have the intention of Jannah and reward as well. And later, it will change into an even better intention. So, mashallah, that's the first gift that you are given. And you have permission to practice this as well. And anyone who's done this before, the mashayikh, they say that they refresh their fiqh knowledge every 6 months, fiqh knowledge. Now, how often do you think they refresh these things? These things are even more necessary. Sincerity is a daily thing. If they refresh their knowledge every 6 months, how often do you think they refresh these things? Every day. So these things are a regular daily, they check them all the time. So anyone who's done these can do them again, inshallah. They should be refreshing them again. The second is the tongue sheet. So the tongue is the one that was shown before. The tongue sheet, well, how many days is our target to stop the sins of the tongue? 30. And is it consecutive in a row, or can you have breaks? No, you can't have breaks. Nobody would ever say that I'm married to this person for 20 days, then I'm off, not married, then I'm married again. You won't say something like this. So you can't say I will stop backbiting for 20 days, then I'll have a break, and then I'll carry on. No, it has to be consecutive in a row. So inshallah, that's the tongue sheet, abstaining from these sins. Then your tongue will resemble the blessed tongue of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. And so you will begin that. When will you begin that? You can tell me. When will you start that? Yes, brother. Oh, no, when will you start this tongue sheet? Today, now, exactly. Even today isn't even the right answer. Now is the right answer. But it's never tomorrow, because tomorrow never comes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to the day of judgment as tomorrow. So it has to be now. Yeah, now. So the tongue sheet, inshallah, very, very most important. And before doing this tongue sheet, after the Maghrib Salah, when you do your awabin, then you can pray the 2 rakat Salat al-Tawbah, that, oh Allah, and seek forgiveness specifically for the sins of the tongue. Oh Allah, I seek forgiveness from you for the sins of the tongue in my entire life. I make intention never to commit these sins again, and start beginning to rectify them. But now, one thing that there is left to know, that what are the sins of the tongue? In this retreat, we don't have the time to go through the sins of the tongue. Maybe there are 15, 20 or more, but at least after this retreat or during this retreat, you can go and learn them as well. Ask the people what is backbiting, what is slander, what is lying, what are the exceptions, where can I find this information? That can be given to you as well, inshallah. But you need to show some effort. Everything given to you on a plate is not good for a person. If you're given everything on a plate, people don't appreciate things. You have to go and search, then you appreciate it more. And the third one is the prayer, the spiritual prayer, level 1, inshallah. So level 1, it says here, at the bottom of the screen, the level is there. It says, to think and to refresh the belief that Allah, the Lord of the worlds, is with me, watching me and hearing me or listening to me, and reciting and zikr in every posture of the prayer. So you say that at least once, 3 keys: Allah is with me, Allah is watching me, and Allah is listening to me. We refer to them as the 3 keys. 3 keys that open a very, very strong door, a very, very precious thing inside it, which is why it's got 3 locks. It has 3 locks, so you need 3 keys. And all the 3 keys are kept separately. So first you have to go find the 3 keys. Then you have to find the door. Then put the right key in the right door. And if you get it wrong, it might destroy the key. Then, only then the door opens, and that's the door to the presence of Allah. So this is a very precious thing. So you will say in every posture of the prayer, Allah is with me, Allah is watching me, Allah is hearing me or listening to me. And then you will go to the next posture. Then in the next posture you will say, Allah is with me, watching me, hearing me. Then next posture. But do you say it with the tongue? No. That will break your prayer, fiqh-wise. You say it with the heart and the mind. Every posture. Stay in that posture until you've said it and felt it. Then you go to the next posture. So that you will also practice this for 30 days, inshallah, continuously, consecutively. And after that, you can be given the next level. But then for the next level, you have to come and request it. Because a person who doesn't come and ask, I finished this, I need the next level, they can't be given the next level. Because will the doctor chase the patient? Or does the patient chase the doctor? It's the patient chases the doctor. You have to go to the doctor. So these are the 3 amals. So who can summarize these 3 for me? Who can summarize? Otherwise, I pick someone, inshallah. Brother Ahmed, the brother on your right. Yes. Brother, what's your name? Yeah. Farooq, can you summarize the 3 levels for me? Or the 3 sheets? Or just even what they were? Yeah. Excellent. No, that's very good, mashallah. You've done very well so far. And the next 2? Anyone else can help? So I want to see the people who've not been on this retreat before, inshallah. So brothers, how about yourself, brother? Yes. Right at you, if you show me your card name. Yeah? No. There. Can you tell us what was the other 2? Yep. And the third one? And what are the 3 keys? Excellent, mashallah. So very good. So do you see recapping and summarizing them, very, very important. These, if you are to take anything from today so far, these 5 things. I've only gone through 3. Everything else almost can be forgotten, but these 5 shouldn't, and you will be given them shortly. Brother Ustaz Sajid, is it coming? Are they coming? The books? They're here. So inshallah, if you can bring them here for me now, please. So inshallah, the brothers and the others will give these special gifts to you. When you receive them, please make sure you put your name on it and keep it safe. Don't leave it here and there. We don't want to see them all around the windowsills and other places. And this is a very special book, mashallah. A lot of time and effort has gone into it, and under Hazrat Saab's guidance and approval, it's been put together. Thank you. You can give them out. Yeah, please give them out, please. So everything almost that will be taught in this retreat, these 4 days or so, everything is in here for you. All the diagrams in color, explanations, the activities. So even this diagram I'm referring to now is in here. So inshallah, when you receive them, have a quick glance through it. Maybe read the first page, which is a introduction to unveilings of the unseen retreat written by Hazrat Saab. Just the first page as you're waiting for everyone to receive. And then inshallah I'll tell you which page your 5 amals are on. So you are very fortunate people, mashallah, because you are the very first people to receive this. Before yourselves, no one else has received all of this in one book, all about how to enter the spiritual world and to be unveiled. And so when it's not something to share with other people, even your family, friends, this is not something to show them. Without coming to a retreat like this, they wouldn't understand the things in there. And you should also avoid reading ahead. Until we've gone through a section, avoid reading that section. Otherwise, you may be confused as well. So do you see did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ever send a book without a prophet, or a prophet without a book? Which one? Allah Azza wa Jal sent the prophet without the book, but He never ever sent a book without a prophet. So what that means is that the teacher is necessary, the book is not necessary. So you have the books there, the book can explain everything to you, so you can all go home now. No, the book is beneficial, but the teachings and the teachers are necessary. So the book is addition and extra help and guidance. So alhamdulillah, Mubarak on this wonderful gift. So now if you turn to the very first section, I want to show you these 5 amals. It's on page 12. So let's go through the beginning, what you've already seen. On page 1, alhamdulillah, there's a wonderful introduction by our teacher, Hazrat Sahib, which you can read afterwards. Page 2 and 3 tell you a little bit about the preparation and the background. On page 4, you have the master, our whole story, the master roadmap. We did the muraqabah of this map before. So without seeing it with your eyes, you got to see it with a spiritual eye instead. Then you have the 2 aspects of the life of the Holy Prophet ﷺ explained. You have the 4 on the 4 conditions. We call them the 4 minor conditions of spiritual openings. The fiqh, what were the other 2? The other 3? Fiqh, Aqidah, Tawbah, and Mujahadah, striving, excellent. There you have the heart showing the 7 organs with many of the different sins. Those, I said, is your homework. You can go and find out what are these sins, what are they not, what are exceptions. That's, if you're going to stop the sins, you have to know what the sin is. Then you have the mind stage, the second precondition, and the major precondition, the heart stage, and the soul and others. So these 4 things are mentioned there, inshallah. You can read them in your own time. The mountain diagram is a very special diagram, but we don't have time to go through this, so you can maybe in another time understand the entire journey through the mountain diagram. But for today, I want you to look at page 12, because this is the page you will be looking at for the next 30 days. So on this page you have your 3 sheets, and at the top you have the 2 azkars or awrad that you will be practicing, the 2 amals you will practice every day. The La ilaha illallah zikr, the method is explained there. I'm not going to go through it in detail now, but the method is explained there, and you will simply say La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. And there's a thing to think about when you're reciting the azkars as well. And you only have to do how long? About 5 minutes a day. Do you think you can give 5 minutes a day to do a zikr of Allah that purifies the heart? Because the Holy Prophet ﷺ said in the nearest meaning that everything that requires cleaning has a detergent to clean it. And the detergent for the heart is the zikr of Allah. There are many azkars, but La ilaha illallah is the one that purifies the heart. It's one of them. Now, there is a special muraqabah here. There is a special muraqabah. Muraqabah dua. The 7 points are mentioned there, but after Taraweeh, the entire session will be devoted to muraqabah dua. So that entire session, inshallah, will be muraqabah dua, and one of those stars, or maybe Hazrat Sahib, will go through it, and after that session, we will be practicing it every day. Inshallah. You can practice it in the prayer, you can practice it in normal muraqabah meditation, whenever and wherever you are, you can practice it. So that's why I won't go through that today. But this is the summary of everything that we've been through today so far, is these 5 amals. This is how you start your journey. So if you make intention that I will start this now and today, and you can read this afterwards, inshallah. So I did say to some not to look ahead, and so if you don't look ahead, inshallah, the page is ahead. So now, inshallah, does anyone have any questions so far? Any questions about everything that has been mentioned? Yes. So, mashallah, the 5 amals, good question, is for everyone can practice them. Everyone can practice them. But those who have already started this journey to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to spiritual openings to reach Allah and His beloved Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, those who've already started, if they're still doing their amals and they're being steadfast, they can continue. They continue. And if they've stopped for a month, even a week, if they've stopped and they need to refresh, they need a refresher, then they can do these amals, but instead of the La ilaha illallah zikr, they do the Astaghfirullah zikr. So Astaghfirullah for 7 minutes. And they should think that they are presenting all their sins and their disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on a basket, and that's their gift to Allah. What a gift, what a bad gift, as sinful servants we can be. We don't have a gift of good deeds to give, we have a gift of sins, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves to forgive, so He forgives. So then a person thinks and realizes how lowly they are and how perfect and how great Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. That's what we mean when we say Subhanallah, that how perfect Allah is, but how imperfect I am. If you think Allah is great and I am great too, Allah does not need your praise. So the Astaghfirullah zikr is for the person who has started and stopped and they need to refresh, but they can do the Muraqabah dua as well, inshallah. And as I said at the beginning, these 3 sheets, the mashayikh, they refresh them regularly. So we should all be refreshing them who's ever started already. Any other questions? Otherwise, I hope it's clear, inshallah. Is it clear? So yes, anyone? So if I ask anyone the 5 amals at the end of the next section, you will all be able to tell me without looking at the books. So inshallah, now if you can just do me this favor, if you stand up, and you can stand up, all of you. Now you can just look to the person next to you, say salam to them, introduce yourself, tell them where you're from. Fine, join them. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So now, mashallah, you can sit down again. So this person that you've just met and spoke to, inshallah, they are going to be your partner in this activity. Okay, if there's 3 of you, that's also fine. But now you have a partner, you know each other, you know each other's name, hopefully, and where they've come from. So, the 6, can you turn to page 22 and 23? And I hope everyone has a pen. If you don't have a pen, inshallah, the admin team will get some pens. You will need pens for this activity. So, okay, so inshallah, this is very, very important. So far, we've gone through preconditions. Preconditions, minor ones, major ones. I'm not going to summarize them now, but we've gone through the 4 minor, Aqidah, Fiqh, Tawbah, and Mujahada, and the 4 major, the body, mind, heart, and soul. I summarize now, alhamdulillah. Now we're going to go through 6 major obstacles that stop you, that they might or they might not fall under them. But they are the biggest obstacles that come and stop a person from having any spiritual openings. The first one is here. This one we've already been through. The body, the mind, the heart, and the soul's relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I want you to ask yourself some questions, and those questions will come and you will write the answers. But this first slide, which you have in front of you on the left, page 22, is a summary of the 6 major obstacles. What is the second one? The spiritual relationship with Allah. That what is your spiritual relationship with Allah now? What does spiritual relationship mean? And we will come to that. Then the third one is your major life problems that are distracting you from Allah Azza wa Jalla. This is different for every person. But you will know, if I ask you now, so if you all listen, what is your biggest problem in your life? And the first thing that comes to your mind, there's a reason that comes to your mind. What is your biggest problem in your life? The first thing that comes to your mind, there's a reason for that. Maybe that is the biggest problem. So think about that. We'll come to that section. Unlawful wealth. Many people have this unlawful wealth. Someone was asking already about interest and other things. So these things will at some point stop you, but there is a solution. So there is a solution, and that solution you can have today. You can have it today and it can be unblocked even today. But there are three things that you need to do. And then even though you might have an interest mortgage or a person selling alcohol or something, they can do three things, and but one of them I'll tell you, I may as well tell you all three. First one is they have to have the intention to stop. They have to have the intention to stop it and do tawbah of it. So they have to have that intention. The second is that they have to have a plan in place to get themselves out of that. You can make the plan today. With one of the ustads you can sit, or with others that are here, you can sit with them, they can make a plan for you. If you don't make a plan, this doesn't apply. And then the third one is compensation. And that is that, you see, if a person has interest mortgage and they have been receiving benefit from interest mortgages and buy-to-lets and so on, but they're on interest. If you've been receiving the benefit of all this and then you say, oh, I'll get an interest mortgage, but then 2 years later, I'll sell it. I'll sell the house, I'll make the profit, and I'll do a halal mortgage or whichever. If a person does this and makes that intention and does it this way, they've got out of the mortgage, but they're not free from that sin yet. They're not free from it. It's still upon them. And the reason is that, firstly, other Muslims could say, oh, they have got an interest-based mortgage, then they sell it for 2 years, they've made their benefit and their profit, I could do the same, and then I'll do tawbah. So if you do that, you give the message to the masses that they can do it too, and they could do tawbah afterwards. That's not the case. That the third condition is compensation. And compensation is where the benefit that you've taken from this haram income, now you have to give that back. And how do you give that back? You give that back in the service of mankind in two ways. Either you give it back in time, or you give it back in wealth. Because time for many people is also wealth. But you have to calculate how much your time is worth based upon your job and your business and so on. And that much time that you've benefited from these interest-based mortgages, however much it comes to, you either give that wealth in the benefit of mankind, it can be any charity, or you give it your time in the benefit of mankind. This is time coming here, not for you as a participant, but for those who are doing service. This is charity. So those as a principle, those three things are principles, they base, and you can have the plan of all three today, and then your blockage is removed. But if you go away without an intention to stop it, without a plan to get out of it, and without an intention to give compensation, the blockage will come back again. And you will be stopped from spiritual openings and closeness of Allah Azza wa Jal. So I've not come to the section, but those are mentioned. Those 3 points are not written anywhere. So if you want them, then you can write them down somewhere. So the fifth is marital relations. The person you spend most the time with amongst human beings is one's spouse. So this is very, very, very important relationship, and it becomes a distracting factor in a person's life, a major one. And for that alone, there are marriage workshops a person can attend to solve marriage issues, but we're only going to focus on one. Again, this changes from person to person. And the sixth one is your relationship with parents or siblings and friends and colleagues that are distracting you. It says there that are distracting you from Allah. If those relations that are not distracting you, they're not obstacles. It's the ones that are distracting you from Allah Azza wa Jal. And what does that mean? We'll come when we come to that section. So the first one is this. So I want you to do this. I'm going to give you about 1.5 to 2 minutes each time. The question is, how is your body's relationship with Allah? What does that mean? Ask yourself this question. Am I disobeying Allah Azza wa Jal with my tongue, with my eyes, ears, hands, feet, stomach, and the modesty? And I want you to write the answers there. No one else is to see it. You can put code in there if you want, like just letters rather than the whole sentence. You write it for you to see. You ask yourself, am I disobeying Allah with my tongue, with my eyes, ears, hands, feet? Only you are to see it, no one else is. And then inshallah you have 2 minutes to write that, to think about it. You can write code, you can write different language, whichever. So I'll give you that time now, inshallah. Yes. Yes. Yeah, and it's only for your eyes, it's not for anyone else, inshallah. So, and Ustad Sadi, so Ustad Sajid and Ustad Shalam, inshallah, they will walk around and help others. If anyone needs any help, guidance, advice, you can put your hand up and they'll come. Yes, Ustad. You can write the sins, but you can write them in code if you need to write them in code. Yes. So this is you see we're 130 people here. This is something you would do on a one-to-one, but by teaching you all here, you can then do it on your own every month. How often should this be done? This type of thing is once a month. And those of you who were here last month, you should be comparing your notes now to last month. It should be compared to last month, not the rest of your life, just in this month, how have you done on this? Inshallah, you have 1 more minute on that one. Ustad Shalam is on this side if you need him. So Ustad is on that side. Yeah. If you need to discuss with someone, generally telling people what your sins are is not something one should do. The only exception is a teacher, but that is helping you stop them. Even them, you can mention, I have problem with my eyes, rather than saying, I look at such and such. And they'll give you a solution for all the sins of the eyes. So now we've had 2 minutes, inshallah, because you can finish this in your own time as well. I will move on. Next is if you turn over, it's on the same page. How is your mind's relationship with Allah Azza wa Jal? So ask yourself this question. Do I entertain thoughts against Allah's command? It's a yes or no answer, but you can give it a percentage. So let's say out of 100 thoughts, how many of them do you entertain that are against Allah's command? 100 thoughts that are against Allah's command, how many of them do you entertain? How many do you not? So do I entertain thoughts against Allah's command? You can give it a percentage, that 50-50, I don't, 50 I do. Or 80, I don't, 20 I do. So like this, so you're assessing yourself based on your own experience of your life. Do I think bad of other Muslims? I've already emphasized on this so often today. So do I think bad of other Muslims? Ask yourself. And give yourself a percentage. Am I heedless of Allah's remembrance, and how often? In the 16 hours that you're awake, how much time do you spend in Allah's remembrance? How much heedlessness are you in? You can give that in hours if you want, or percentage. This is all the mind's relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do I practice more negative thinking or more positive thinking? Which one do I practice more? So it's one or the other, and maybe do a percentage there as well. That I'm 60% positive, 40 negative. You will know. Ask yourself the question. Your inner self will tell you. And if you're confused, then inshallah, please put your hand up. Or you can ask here as well, inshallah. Yes. Yes, Brother Majid. Outcomes of life as well. So for example, right now a person might feel under a lot of stress because they have so much going on in their life. But in that, there is a positive lesson in there. And the positive lesson is Allah is telling you, turn to me, I will help you. Because the person is being bombarded. They've got exams, they've got family, they've got visitors, they've got a baby to take care of, they've got household to take care of, they've got so many things. But the message in there is Allah is saying, turn to me, I will help you, take it away. And because they're not turning. So if a person doesn't turn to Allah, then Allah sends another message and another until, but in that there is a positive message. Allah is saying, I love you, come to me and I will help you. Otherwise I won't send you hardship because I don't love you. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does love the creation. He loves us all. So there's always a positive, but you just have to search for it. And the other there would be that Allah is training you to become a stronger person, taking you to the next level. So there's always positive thoughts. Out of 100%, how much is each one? So give each one a rating of out of 100, how much are you on them? And that one's just an extra line for you, inshallah. Do I spend time in reflecting upon creation? So that's like, if you go to the park, you look at the tree. For some people, atheists, they say, oh, there's no sign of God. For the believer, they say that everything for me is a sign of God's existence. For you, there's no sign. For me, everything is a sign. For me, even you are a sign of God's existence. Who created you? Did you come out of thin air? So how much time do you spend reflecting? I would say a minimum 15 minutes a day is a good amount for reflecting. Moving on, how is your heart's relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Am I more humble or more arrogant? So remember I said the third stage, they fight each other like this. It's one or the other. They have opposites. Humbleness, arrogance. Which one are you more? Ask yourself. Am I more grateful or am I more ungrateful? The husband, the wife, and the parents and the children, the family, when they do something for you, they have more right to be thanked and appreciated than the waiter and the waitress. But when the waiter and the waitress give you something, we say, thank you, oh, thank you very much. No, the husband, the wife, the children, the parents, should thank them even more than that. And then you're teaching them to do the same. Am I more patient or more impatient? What does patient mean? Who can tell me? What does patient mean? Yes, Brother Aziz. That's more contentment, being pleased with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's will. So that's not patience, but a good try. If you can wait for the mic, who else can tell me what does patient? Yes, brother at the back. But in the meantime, you can write, are you more patient or more impatient? And how often do you repent? So ask yourself, the Holy Prophet ﷺ in one gathering, 70 times in one gathering he repented. 70, the companions counted. How often do we repent? We are more in need. Yes, brother, what is patience?
Is it waiting for something you want, waiting for something that you want, you've not got it yet?
That's close, it's along those lines, but there's something more. There's something more, but good try, brother. Yes, Brother Shafiq.
To overlook the shortcomings of other people.
That's like a form of patience, but that's a good try, because it is a form of patience, because by overlooking, when you hear the definition, you'll see it's a form of it. So that's a good try. Yes, brother behind you. You can fill in the questions whilst you're waiting and listening, inshallah. Yes, brother. No? I will one last and then I'll tell you. Brother Umar? Yeah. Okay, so I'll tell you the answer. So patience is that to stop even though you have the full ability to do it. To stop yourself from doing something even though you have the full ability to do it. So let me give you an example. An elderly person who's lost all their ability, all their strength. They want to go and do some sin or something, but they can't. So are they patient by stopping that sin? No, because they don't have the ability to do it anymore. So there's no patience in there. But a youth who has the full ability to go in the world and do anything, but they stop themselves, no one's stopping them, financial, time-wise, anything, they can do anything. But they stop themselves from zina and other things. Are they patient? Yes. So similarly, when you're angry, you stop yourself from swearing, even though you have the ability to swear, you can swear, you can shout, but you stop it, you're patient. So patient is the one who stops in spite of being able to do something. No. So how often do I repent? Ask yourself that as well. So brothers, if you can lower the voice, inshallah, please, thank you. Now, the soul's relationship. Brother Sajid? They're very in depth in their conversation. So if you can lower the voice, please. Jazakallah. How is your soul's relationship? This means the nafs, the evil nafs. And so here, one has to ask themselves this: am I more in the remembrance of Allah Azza wa Jal, or am I more in my own remembrance? My own things, my life, me, or am I in Allah's remembrance? So in your 24 hours, how often are you in the presence of Allah? For those who understand presence, it's different to remembrance. For those who don't, just think it's remembrance. So how often do you spend in the presence of Allah? Remember the fourth major condition I mentioned before? It was the enlightenment level. What were the two main things? Who remembers the two main things in that level, that stage? Yes? Go on, brother. Love of Allah and the Prophet ﷺ, and what else? It says it there. The Mashayikh is included in the love of Allah and His Messenger. That is the love, loving them more than yourself, your wealth and all mankind. The spiritual, that I said the person who he's alone but he forgot what alone feels like. The presence of Allah. So you feel that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with you all the time. So the second question there says, do I love Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam more than my parents, my spouse, children and myself? Ask yourself the question that if there's anyone that you love more than him, just write their names there. And be honest with yourself. You know the answer should be that yes, I love him more than everyone, but you have to be honest with yourself. Who is the obstacle in your life that you love more than him? Is it your child? Is it your husband or wife? Is it who is it? It doesn't mean you have to remove the person from your life. It just means that there is a way to divert the love to the Holy Prophet ﷺ and away from that person. That the love for the Messenger of Allah ﷺ should be more than everyone else. Do I yearn to save the Ummah from Jahannam, or am I always thinking about myself? Now, this is an enlightenment level, because the Holy Prophet ﷺ would always be thinking about his Ummah. So if you're to reflect his spirit, his soul, then you should be also feeling the way he felt. And that should be, am I yearning to save the Ummah the way, or am I just yearning to save myself? So most people are writing. MashaAllah, some people are not writing. But if you're not writing, then maybe the answer is good and correct. Alhamdulillah. Yes.
Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam more than yourself, your parents, your children. And I can only mention what I feel like it, or how I think about it. It's not something which I'm at this stage I can put it in black and white and say this is more. My heart says I should love Rasulullah Sallam more than this, but I can't identify I love this person more than them, or they are obstacle. I can think about, so I need some clarification, but I certainly don't have a thing which I can say I love this more than Nabi Sallam. The stage is moved on. Now I'm at this stage that I 100% want to love this. Maybe I'm not doing it, but so maybe help. I'm towards that, but I can't identify this is the block. There might be blocks, but so I need some clarification.
No, that's fine. So this is good. What Uncle Iqbal is showing there is that in what he said, no one else is the obstacle, the wife, the children and so on. They're not, he doesn't love them more than Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The last person is yourself, yourself. Then there needs to be a question asked to you, but this is a deeper thing which is better not done in a gathering like this, but a deeper question where you see yourself in a situation and the Holy Prophet ﷺ, And who would, if someone was to, like, imagine Taif, the Holy Prophet ﷺ was there, and children were throwing stones at him. Now you imagine yourself in that situation, and you see, would you willingly go there, all those stones being thrown, would you willingly use your body as a shield to protect him? Or would you prefer not to be attacked with all those stones? So something like this, but this is a one-to-one matter, and then your inner self will show who you love more. Is it yourself, myself, or is it the Holy Prophet ﷺ? So this is just a question to ask yourself. It requires evidence. Evidence is following the Sunnah and the Sharia. That's the evidence. But you still need to ask yourself the question. No, we're not. So this is a deeper level thing. That stage is an experiential stage. Just like ascension, the other things in this retreat, they are experiential. And really, these 4 preconditions, you should have already gone through them in order to do the Miraj that we're going to do. But you don't have to. In this retreat, that's why you're given it, you're told start it. But if you don't do this after this retreat, the Miraj won't be maintained. The ascension, the openings, they won't be maintained. But if you do these things, all these 4 precondition stages, then yes, you can maintain it in the real dunya world. So this is not the time to go through these in detail. Ask yourself that question. If you don't know, then you can ask on a one-to-one with somebody, because it's an experiential stage. Other people can become confused. The last one says, am I a slave to my feelings, or are my feelings my slave? That one's a simple one. Do I follow my feelings, or today a person feels bored, so they don't do their zikr and muraqabah? Or today they feel heavy or difficult, so they don't pray. Are you follower of feelings, or do you do things in spite of how you feel? So the next one, the summary of this is that after having written these things down, what you will now do is, after Maghrib, you will do, inshallah, 2 rakats Salatul Tawbah, and beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness for all these disobediences of the body, the mind, the heart, and the soul. Remember, you will do 2 rakat just for the tongue. That's just for the tongue. And then you will do a general 2 rakat for all sins and these things which you've written down, inshallah. Is everyone clear so far? Okay. So now the second one is very, very, very important. This second section, the spiritual relationship with Allah Azza wa Jalla, is all what this retreat is about. This retreat is all about this. So we will be focusing on this. The other 5 things, that's not what this retreat's for. So inshallah, please pay attention to this one. 7 levels of faith. There are 7 levels of faith which we will go in more detail. I think Brother Shalim, Ustad Shalim will go through them, and Ustad Majid, and Ustad Sajid, sorry. The first one is Ilmul Yaqeen. What does that mean? Certain knowledge. Certain knowledge means that you have got something from a very, very, very reliable source. There's no doubt about it, such as the Holy Quran or the Sunnah, the authentic Hadith. There's no doubt. And you've got that from the Holy Quran, from the Prophet ﷺ. The Mashayikh coming down 14 centuries have said the same thing. That's authentic. These are authentic, reliable source. Ilmul Yaqeen, you've only got knowledge of it. So the example is, there is a fire in Canada. You know, Canada has lots of fire bushes that they caught on fire very often. There's a fire, but we are on the other side of the world. So Ilmul Yaqeen is, we've heard about this, we've been told about this. That's it. But I've not seen it, I've not heard it, felt it. Aqlul Yaqeen, or Aqlul Yaqeen, is intellectual certainty. What does intellectual certainty mean? That means that when you have a strong belief, you have a conviction, and it comes through logical proof or scientific evidence. So I give you an example. If you're speaking to an atheist that doesn't believe in God, and can you mention Quran to them, Hadith to them? They will say, oh, I don't believe that. Why are you telling me that? I don't believe in them. But so what will you tell them? That there is 1,000 scientific facts mentioned in the Holy Quran. So you can mention 1400 years ago, there was no resources or equipment to measure or to test these things. They've only been discovered in the last 30, 40, 50 years. But 1400 years ago, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that. So these are logical scientific proof. They can't say anything to that. So aqlul yaqeen, intellectual certainty, is when you have logical scientific proof and evidence that what about something. So for example, Holy Quran, 80% of it is things that are tangible. Tangible means you can touch, about dunya, the world, and they have been proved correct. The 20% is the hereafter, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, things you can't see or touch, not tangible. So because you can't touch them, you can't do experiment on. Can you get Jahannam and do experiment on it? No. But you can get this dunya and do experiment on here. Like Allah mentions the two seas and how they part, how they make a barrier. Or Allah Azza wa Jal mentions about the Big Bang, how everything was expanded. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about the orbits. These things, there's evidence for them. So then you can say logically, if 80% of what we can do evidence on, experiment on, is proved correct, the 20% that we cannot do any evidence on because we can't touch it, then that must also be correct. It's just that we're not in that world to do experiment. Maybe when you go to Jannah, you can experiment on Jannah, but not here. So this is logical certainty. So what you should very shortly do is you will write down, you will ask yourself, where am I? That's what I want you to ask. Do you have ilmul yaqeen in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Put your hands up and tell me. Yes, you have ilmul yaqeen. You've heard from reliable source about Allah and His Messenger. Do you have aqlul yaqeen? Ask yourself and let me see a raise of hands. Do you feel that you've got logical, scientific or proof that of Allah's existence through even the tree, how it grows from a seed? Yes, mashallah, so you have that. Some people, they don't, but they can receive that. If you ponder upon the tree, this plant here was once a seed this small, but somehow it grew and grew and grew and it becomes this wonderful tree here. How that's logical, who can create that? So qalbul yaqeen, what does that mean? Qalbul yaqeen means that your heart is satisfied. That you don't even need the logical proofs anymore. Your heart is satisfied and you can't prove this to someone. So for example, Brother Usman, Brother Siraj, you had experience before. Brother Siraj, you had experience before. Were you satisfied from that experience that you had? What do you think? Did you experience that? Was your heart satisfied with what you saw? Did you believe what you saw? Yes, Usman? Yeah, because you saw it, you described it. I didn't describe that to you. What you described back to me was what you saw. Your heart believed it. So qalbul yaqeen is the heart is satisfied with something and no one else can disprove them, but their heart is just content with it, is happy with it. Some people are traveling and don't see, but they know that they were there. So this is those people. They traveled, they didn't see anything, but they felt like they traveled. They felt like they went somewhere, but they didn't see anything. So that's heart satisfaction. And so each one of these, it says out of 10. What I want you to do is, I want you to rate them out of 10. Give a rating. My ilmul yaqeen is 10 out of 10 or 5 out of 10. My qalbul yaqeen and aqlul yaqeen, 5 out of 10 or 10 out of 10. Give them a rating in the white box on the right side. Yes, brother. I haven't come to that yet. Yeah, so you're going ahead. So for the first 3 only, just rate them from out of 1 to 10. 0 being it's non-existent, 10 being it couldn't get any better, and then anywhere that you feel you are. Yeah, it's about, because this is to do with the spiritual openings, especially to see the Holy Prophet ﷺ, it's in relation to Allah and His Messenger ﷺ. So what is your level of ilmul yaqeen on Allah and His Messenger ﷺ? So your level of certain knowledge on Allah and His Messenger. If you've studied for many years and you've read many books and you've been in many gatherings, maybe it's a 10, inshallah. And this is the one which this retreat, the objective of this retreat is this one. So the most important part is here, Ainul Yaqeen. So we want you to experience Ainul Yaqeen. What is Ainul Yaqeen? Certainty from spiritual vision. Your sight, your eyesight, not this sight, but your inner sight. For this to see through spiritual vision, the Jannah, the Jahannam, or the doors of Jannah like today, or the mouth of Jahannam, or the best of all, the Holy Prophet ﷺ, the master of creation, the best one that you can ever see. Because in this world, one can never see Allah Azza wa Jal in this life of this dunya, but we can see Allah in the hereafter, after death, inshallah. So after traveling with the thought level, first level, the second is imagination, the third is automatic, and that is the spiritual traveling, or the spiritual seeing. Now there's a difference between this. I'll mention the difference when we mention the other ones. So one sign is that you see things which you never imagined. Many things happen beyond your control. So I mentioned that earlier. The one who does spiritual travel, that's why I was asking the brother, did it happen beyond your control? And yes, it did. Or no, it didn't. So then we know, is it thought, is it imagination, or is it spiritual traveling? Like one brother, he was seeing things before it was mentioned. And we have not even done a muraqabah yet. Other than the journey of man, we have not done the muraqabahs. They are going to begin, inshallah, later, maybe tahajjud time. So this is your objective, to achieve Ainul Yaqeen. So every one of you are at different levels. Some of you have done a retreat before, some have been practicing, some have not. Rate that from 0 to 10 as well, inshallah. Yes, Brother Abdullah. No. This is to do with a wakeful state. So it's not including dreams, it's including only wakeful state. Because everyone can have the dreams, but rarely people have openings whilst awake. It's possible though. Even non-Muslims it's possible, but they don't see the positive Islamic realities. They don't see the Holy Prophet ﷺ, very rarely. They don't see Makkah Sharif, Medina Sharif. They see other things. Yes, brother. Yeah, so for examples of spiritual or Ainul Yaqeen is, the first example is the forest fire. So the forest fire is, if you have heard about the forest fire, that's Ilmul Yaqeen. If you are then, you've seen the scientific report that there was a forest fire here from scientific evidences and news reports, then you've got the Aql Yaqeen. Intellectual people have come together and said that happened, so you know it happened, like history. Then the third one, which was Qalbul Yaqeen, then your heart is satisfied. My heart's satisfied now. I don't need any further proof. My heart is satisfied that this happened, or this fire is happening now. Because I believe these people, I've got the knowledge, but even my heart has been satisfied with it. No one can disprove me now. But Ainul Yaqeen is when you see it yourself. You're going to Canada, you're seeing the fire in the forest. And that's Ainul Yaqeen. And Ainul Yaqeen in the spiritual vision, or in the Muraqabah, is to see, for example, the angel of death, or to see the angels in this room, or to see these two angels, or to see Jannah or Jahannam, or to see the Day of Judgment, or to see the angels that hold the Arsh of Allah, or to see the Arsh of Allah. So to see these things that are mentioned clearly in the Holy Quran and Sunnah. So Ainul Yaqeen. The next three we won't go into detail. I'm going to skip through them briefly because these are not the objective of level 1 retreat. This is the level 1 retreat. Nafsul Yaqeen is when even your nafs now, not your heart, your nafs is satisfied. The nafs is satisfied and it is inclined towards that goodness. This is one of the things that we do want to achieve. When you see things spiritually, your nafs sees that as well. And if the nafs becomes inclined towards Jannah, guess what happens? You don't become inclined towards dunya anymore. You don't want the world. You do work for the world, but you don't make it your life's objective. Now you can make akhirah your life objective, and you can still work in the world, but you're inclined towards akhirah. And that happens easier when the nafs is inclined. And when the nafs is not inclined, it's a battle. So this happens inshallah automatically. So I want you to rate that one. How strong is your nafs's attachment to akhirah and to the spiritual world, to the Prophet ﷺ, or how weak is it? Is it inclined? Is it satisfied? You can rate that as well. Then we have Ruhul Yaqeen. And Ruhul Yaqeen is the certainty of the spirit. The spirit, it attains the yaqeen, the conviction. Yaqeen means conviction. The conviction by transferring in the spiritual world and traveling in that spiritual world. So I give you the example in this one. If I see Medina Sharif on the television, on the TV, which one is that? Which yaqeen? This is Ainul Yaqeen. But if I get on the plane and go to Medina Sharif and now I'm outside the blessed green dome, what is this? In this example, this is like the Ruhul Yaqeen. The spirit has traveled there. So the difference between Ainul Yaqeen and Ruhul Yaqeen is Ainul Yaqeen you're seeing on the TV, Ruhul Yaqeen you're transferring in the spiritual world with your mind and you're going there to Medina Sharif like that. And Haqqul Yaqeen, the last one, is when you then can see the Holy Prophet ﷺ and interact and speak to him, and the feelings and the yearning overpowers you of love and devotion and want. When you experience those feelings as well, those qualities, then you have an example of Haqqul Yaqeen. When you speak to the Holy Prophet ﷺ, then there's another level of Haqqul Yaqeen experience there. So that's experiencing and tasting. So interacting in the spiritual world and learning from the prophets and messengers, that's Haqqul Yaqeen. And that is not for this retreat. Some of you it may happen, but some of you, inshallah, it may just be the first opening. So this is what's possible. So each one of those, has everyone rated all 7 of them? Can I see hands up for those who have rated? Yeah? Majority, some have not. So inshallah, if you those of you who have not, you can do it later inshallah. But iftari time is coming 15-20 minutes, so I will 3 more to go through. Your review will be finished then inshallah. Until next time. Now what I want you to do is turn to, still on page 25, there's 2 questions. The first one is, write down 2 major life problems you are going through which is blocking or distracting you from Allah. And this is different for every person. I want you to try write down the first 2 things that come to your mind. 2 big problems that are distracting you from Allah Azza wa Jal. Yes. A general guidance is that the thing which you think about the most, the problems that, the major problem a person has is something that they think about very often. One person told me he had a debt, and I asked him, how often do you think about the debt? He said maybe 20 times an hour. So 20 times an hour. So that's a major life problem. So, but there's a solution to it. Inshallah, there are solutions. Yeah. If you have no problem, mashallah, what does that tell you? Is this an obstacle? No, it's not an obstacle. And the other thing we don't have time to explain is problems is a matter of perspective. If you look at a problem as a problem, it's a problem. But if you look at a problem as a stepping stone to take you closer to Allah, it's no longer a problem. So one person might be going through such hardships, you will have no idea, but they're going through such hardships, they don't see any of them as problems. So if you ask them, do you have any problems? They will say no. And the other person has very, very few problems, but they think they're the only one in the world with those problems. So they say, oh, I have so many problems. So this is a matter of perspective. But this is a review after all. Then I want you to even write down the solution. Now, you might be thinking, oh, how can I give a solution for myself? Well, there are other people here, other ustads, that they can help you with these problems, but it's good for you to think about the solution yourself. If you have a problem with this example of debt, put a solution in place. You are all adults, you can think of a solution. You can. And then the teachers and ustads, if they have the time, they will help you, inshallah. That's fine. 10 pounds. So then inshallah you will do 2 rakat Salatul Hajat. Salatul Hajat. So Hajat is the prayer of need. Prayer of need. Not the prayer of Tawbah. You will do that today as well inshallah. So how many namazes have we got to do? 2 rakat Salatul for tongue. Then 2 rakat Salatul Tawbah for the whole body, mind, heart and soul. And then 2 rakat Salatul Hajat, prayer of need for ask Allah to remove what? Your problems. These are your 2 major life problems. Then we have unlawful earnings. This is a major spiritual blockage for people. All 6 of these are, but this is one of them. Are you earning wealth in a haram way? Or you will know if you're working for something that's unlawful, if you're selling something unlawful, if interest and so on. Are you spending wealth in haram way? So these are the 2 things. It's coming in, it's going out. Money coming in, money going out. So ask yourself, am I spending or am I earning in an unlawful way? If you're not, then alhamdulillah, that's not a problem for you. If you are, then write down a solution. And when we have the chance, maybe in this retreat, maybe after the retreat, then someone can sit with you and make sure that it's a proper solution. If you put these solutions in place today, remember I said before, the 3 things, what were they? Because these are not written anywhere. First one was intention. So if you have any of these big problems, if you do these 3 things today, the blockage can be removed today, which means spiritual openings can begin. But if you continue them after, the blockage will come back again. First one was making intention to stop it. So it's tawbah. The second one, make a plan. This is what you're doing now. You're making the plan. The solution is the plan. And what was the third one? The compensation. That if you've made some sort of halal, haram wealth, you can't benefit from that and expect the rest of the ummah to think that, oh, he made it this way or she made it this way, I can do the same. Because that's the message it gives. When you know that you have to give compensation for it, then the whole ummah is protected and they know that, then I can't do that. I can't get an interest mortgage, sell it 2 years, get the benefit and then do tawbah. No, I have to give compensation, so I may as well not done it in the first place. That's the message. Okay, so, and then you will do 2 rakat Salatul Hajat for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help you remove the unlawful wealth problem. And then marital problems. You should attend the workshop, inshallah. So are you going through, because there's too much in 2 days, there's too much to discuss. It's a 4-day workshop. 4 days on marriage only, not 2 days. It's a 2-day workshop, but the content is enough for 4 days. So what can be mentioned in the last few minutes? Are you going through any major issues in your marriage that is distracting you from Allah Azza wa Jalla? Write down the solution. So what is the biggest problem in your marriage? Write that down. Write down a solution for it. Is it communication? If you're not married, then do this for the person that's closest to you in your life. The person you spend most time with. Yes, brother. Yes. Paying interest and receiving interest are both unlawful. So they will both affect you, but you need to do those 3 things. Make the intention to stop them. Put a plan to finish it and stop it. And then you can, as a compensation for getting yourself or paying that interest. Because interest destroys the world. Interest is the thing which destroys the world financially. When people are hurt financially, then it leads to other things like suicide. So if you've contributed towards damaging the world, you have to contribute towards healing the world as a compensation. So the marital one, major problem and a major solution. And the last, then 2 rakat Salatul Hajat for the prayer, for the marriage as well, that, oh Allah, help me in my marriage when I go back, make me a changed person, make it improve. And the last one, there's not time for questions now. And the last one is relationship with parents. Am I going through any major issues with parents, siblings, or any other friends that are distracting me from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And if there are, what is it? And write down a solution for it. And finally, a 2 rakat Salatul Hajat for this as well. and then inshallah that is your review. Reviewed, completed. You can finish it in your own time. Those people who did this last month, they should compare this month with last month. And in the future, you have this as a template. You can write them down again and compare it each month. Each time it should be improving and improving and improving, inshallah. So these are, if you overcome these 6 obstacles, then inshallah there won't be any more anything stopping you. The only blockages will, all the blockages, when we talk about blockages, after the session you will always be given feedback. Any blockages will almost always lie in the preconditions, the minor ones, Aqidah, Fiqh, Tawbah, and what was the 4th one? Mujahada, striving. Or they will lie in the 4 major preconditions, which are body, mind, heart and soul, or they will lie in these 6 major obstacles. Either of those 3 areas. And then inshallah nothing can stop you. Nothing can stop you. So on that note, inshallah, Jazakallah, and I hope Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses you and alleviates all your problems and removes them for you and gives you the spiritual openings that are beneficial in this world and hereafter, not ones which lead to misguidance. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help you and accept this from you. So now inshallah we can prepare for iftari. Jazakallah, please forgive me if I've said anything wrong or offensive in any way. Jazakallah, subhanakallah wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta